Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Kaveri Seed Company's Q4 FY23 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end of today's presentation. Please note that this conference will be recorded. Joining us today on this call is Mr. Mithun Chand, Executive Director. Before we begin, I would like to mention that some of the statements made in today's call may be forward-looking in nature and may involve risks and uncertainties. For a list of such considerations, please refer to the earnings presentation. I would now like to hand the call over to Mr. Mithun Chand. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, to our Quarter 4 and Financial Year 23 earnings conference call. We hope you have had a chance to review the presentation of our results, which is also available on our website. I would touch upon the operational and functional performance of the company and then open the floor for the question and answer session. We are delighted to declare a good set of numbers for the year on account of realizing good growth in both volumes and revenues. Both cotton and non-cotton segments have equally done well during the year, and we expect the same trend to continue in the next couple of years. Maize, rice, wheat and vegetable segments continue to do well, and Bajra's growth is very encouraging due to increased focus of Government of India by way of promoting millets as part of the millets mission. New hybrids launched in cotton and maize have contributed for increase in the volumes and realizations, which has in turn resulted in higher EBITDA margins during the year, and the same trend would continue in the next 2 to 3. With an increasing number of new variants, we are confident of increasing our market share in cotton. The good growth rates in maize, both in terms of volumes and revenues, were seen during the current year, and the trend should continue in the coming years on account of increasing demand for both animal feed and biofuel blending demand in the country. Niti Aayog has estimated the requirement of ethanol for financial year 26 at 13.5 billion liters, out of which 50% of the ethanol would be made from maize and rice, and rest from the sugarcane. The biofuel demand would increase the demand for industrial use of maize, which can be achieved only by increasing acreages and the new and high-yielding hybrids introduced by companies like us. Financial highlights. Revenue from operations was at 1,000.56 crore as compared to 915 crore in financial year 22, registered a growth of 9.35%. EBITDA was at 296.94 crores as compared to 238.41 crores in financial year 22, grown by 24.55%. Net profit was at 267.04 crore as compared to 208.9 crore in financial year 22, grown by 27.83%. EBITDA margin was at 29.68% for the financial year 23 versus 26.09% for financial year 22. Increased by 359 basis points. PAT margins were up at 26.69% for financial year 23 versus 22.83 for financial year 22, grown by 386 basis points. Cash and book stands at 538 crore as on 31st March. Operational highlights. Cotton volumes increased by 7.7% and revenue increased by 2.87%. Hybrid rice volumes increased by 12.33%. Selection rice volumes grew by 6.18%. Maize volumes increased by 25.61% and revenues by 22.37%. The contribution of new products was up from 17.39% to 33.87% of volume in maize. Bajra volumes increased by 25.16% and revenues increased by 30.66%. The contribution of new products was up from 41.42% to 54.11% of the volumes in Bajra. Vegetables seed sales volumes are stable and revenue increased by 3.76%. Vegetable crops like bitter gourd, tomato, okra and watermelon have done well during the year. Bihar, Chhattisgarh, West Bengal, Orissa, Rajasthan and Telangana are the key states for vegetable seed business. Exports continue to be strong. Export volume has increased by 35.09% and revenues up by 42.44% as compared to the last year. Presently exporting to Vietnam, Bangladesh, Nepal and few countries of Middle East and Africa. Over the past couple of months, government panel has given go-ahead to field trials for several GF crops like potato, banana, cotton, besides giving approvals for mustard in the past. I will now open the floor for the question and answer session.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Keshav Garg from Counter-Cyclical PMS. Please go ahead.
Sir, thank you very much for this opportunity. Sir, thank you for good results, and sir, thank you for repeated share buyback. Sir, I just wanted to get your view on the this financial year FY24. So, what is the expectation in terms of top line and EBITDA? So, in your judgment, you think we can exceed our all-time high revenue of around 160 crore top line and 310 crore EBITDA that we did in FY15?
We see a good year ahead. Most of the crops would remain same, sidelines of a percentage of 5% plus or minus. We see a good growth rate for vegetables in the coming year. Apart from that, maize looks very interesting. Maize has good scope to grow by seeing the yields and the price. Cotton should be a sideways. Bajra, we will be growing in Bajra. Rice and varietal and hybrid rice, the market may grow by 2 to 3%, but we will beat the market. We will be growing around 8 to 10% in both the segments. Overall, as a company, we see a projection of 10 to 12% as the top line growth and 15 to 20% as the bottom line growth.
Okay, so that is very encouraging. And sir, except for Bajra, sir, in this year also, sir, we can see that our volumes in cotton, maize, etc., the volumes have grown faster than the revenue growth. So that means that there is some price realization. I mean, the realizations went down. So is this trend expected to continue, or is this trend expected to reverse?
For example, in cotton, the last year was a very tough year. The realization was much lower last year when compared to the previous year. I mean, the current year was lower when compared to the previous year. Whereas in maize, the new hybrid, the volume revenues were up and the margins were also up. But whereas in the older hybrid, the revenues, the margins were lower. If you see in terms of volume and revenue growth in maize, it's more or less same, being 1-2%. Whereas in cotton, volume has grown by 6-7%, but the revenues have only grown by 2%. So we have seen a slight decline in realizations in cotton. Whereas in the other crops like rice, it's all sideways. From this year, we think the realizations will move up compared to the previous year.
Sure, sir. And sir, lastly, on the margin side, sir, our margins have increased year on year, as you had told us previously. So but for this present year, so you think that we can go back to 29% margin that we did in FY21?
As of now, the EBITDA margins are like 26%.
Sir, on consolidated basis, it's around 24% if we take out the other income.
I'm taking a standalone basis.
Okay.
Standalone basis is like 24.
Yeah, 24.
Standalone basis is 24%. Definitely, we can see an improvement of at least 1 to 2 percentage points up when compared to the previous year.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, and best of luck.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Nitin Aswati. I'm sorry, it's Nitin Awasthi from Incred Equity. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. I had a few questions. Starting with, has the cotton seed price been revised by the government for the current year?
Yes, it's up by 7 or 5%. The absolute price is 853.
853. And for this is for which variety?
All varieties, all BG2.
BG2. Okay, this is for BG2. Okay, is 853 and previous year it was?
It was close to 800 rupees.
It was close to 800 rupees, but we realized much lower because we had to pass on substantial amount of our the increase of last year to the sales channel, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, we have not realized, even though the prices were up this year compared to the previous year, we couldn't realize it from the market as there was stiff competition and we have given many discounts to the dealer. We have realized, that's what I mentioned earlier also, we have realized lower rate in cotton when compared to the previous year.
Okay, how much, how do you think that will change this year? Do you see again the same amount of pressure and us passing on all the incremental increase in price to the trade channel, or you think we'll be able to retain most of it like we used to do in the earlier years?
We don't see that sort of a pressure this year. This year the stock is also limited when compared to the previous year. The availability of the seed is also limited. We see definitely increase in the realization compared to the previous year, but to what extent that we can only say while the market is on. But definitely the realization will be higher than last year.
Noted. So the next question I had was, we have set up shop in Bangladesh, right, through a subsidiary?
We were doing business in Bangladesh earlier also, but right now we have setting up a subsidiary company in Bangladesh for the further sales, for the future sales, because we are doing in Bangladesh for the last 5-6 years. The results are encouraging, so we want to set up our own subsidiary.
Understood. But Bangladesh is regulatorily more advanced when it comes to GM crops than India. Is that correct? And if that is correct, do we have technologies to cater in Bangladesh? Because there will be players in Bangladesh who are ahead of us.
So basically what we are doing is that we are having a research center in India itself. We are only selling the seeds which are suitable and developed in India and then trying it in Bangladesh, because we even sell it in the other parts of the state. We are trying to place those hybrids in those markets and take the market share. Now when we start research in Bangladesh down the line, then we will be very much competent with the players. There are most of the players are MNC players there. So even the MNC players, the same MNCs are present in India as well. We are having the same competition here, and we are also giving tough fight for them. So that shouldn't be a great difficulty for us if we operate on our own Bangladesh.
Understood, sir. So the government is strengthening its own company, National Seed Corporation. Are we seeing increasing competition from that company?
Basically, National Seed Corporation deals with varieties, whereas we deal with hybrids. Majority of our sales are with hybrids, so we don't see any competition from that.
Okay, understood. And sir, some aggregators, some agri-aggregators who were very strong and who have recently raised a lot of money and got very strong in their own businesses, namely Dehat or be it AgroStar, they have started the seed business where they are selling seeds under their own brand. And they have their own seeds business rather than aggregating it from everybody else. Before they used to aggregate it from seed companies like yourself. Are we seeing them as a threat in the future?
We don't see in that way, because in the seed business, capital is not important. I mean, so it's important, but it's just not like if you spend $1 billion, you can get a seed. It's a long waiting time. It requires a larger time for the R&D. And it's a high entry barrier business. And the competition, whatever seed companies we are there in India, we are there in the last 40-50 years. It is not easy to develop a seed in the next 4-5 years. And anyhow, it's like setting up a new company. Then we definitely will. If something is good, definitely we will be competing with them. But it's too early for them to take the market share in the next 5 to 6 years.
Understood, sir. The last question from my side, we have HTBT mustard and cotton, which has been approved by the government. We also have HT maize, which was approved by the government. We have potato, banana, also approved by the government. And field trials for some of these crops have started. Have we selected for the field trials of any of these crops?
Basically, we are not working in any of the GM crops. We are there in cotton. We have a tie-up with Monsanto now, the current Bayer. So we are with them. We will take the license as how it was earlier. But whereas in mustard and other crops, we are not working on GM crops. But something comes away. Someone introduce the technology, if someone is the government approves and someone is there to share the technology, we will be keen to take the license and do it.
What is the apprehension from the company side? The company has capital, the company has scope, the company has the marketing legs for the product. So why is the company not backward integrating and putting up, and it has its own research. So this is the simple question that I have. What is the apprehension on the company side?
We have our own research. We need to develop hybrids. But whereas GM technologies, it's all a very old technology. It's already there in the current place. It's just like reinventing the wheel, and it's high capital intensive business. And when we are able to get the same technology as a license by paying some sort of a license, we don't want to invest in that. For example, if you see Monsanto, we have a license and we can always source that license. And Monsanto or Bayer is not the only company who has the BT technology. There are many number of players. It's not a monopoly.
Got it, sir. And what about gene editing, which has been passed in China recently for soya, if I'm not wrong? That is a newer technology, that is also available with everybody.
CRISPR technology is again that's a different one. That doesn't come under GM crop. That's just gene editing. We are working on that. We are working with companies, but it will take some time.
Okay, so that we are working by ourselves for ourselves.
So there are other companies are there. We are having some sort of a tie-up, but it will take a longer time to get some seed of that. But in traditional breeding and like marker-assisted breeding activity, we are having our own research and we are able to get good hybrids in that. But that's a technology which we are already concentrating on.
Understood, sir. Thank you so much for answering the questions.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Udaya Prakash from Value Research India Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congrats on the great number.
Sorry, we are not audible.
Hi, sir. Can you hear me now?
Can you be a bit louder?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I have two questions from my side. The first is, we have seen good growth in our export, both volume-wise and revenue-wise. So can you please tell us what is the percentage of export revenue of the total revenue for FY23 and 22? Is the number available?
Yeah, last year it was like 1.4%. This time it is slightly close to 2% of the revenue.
Are we seeing any growth going forward in the export market? As in, are we pushing it, or this is completely without any push and going organically?
If you see in the presentation also, we said that we are exploring other parts of the world. And definitely export is a very big market. And seed business, even it takes longer time to develop a hybrid. And even after developing hybrid, to farmer to believe you and to test the hybrid, it takes a longer time. So that's the time we are taking it. We are in the initial stages of export market, but we are very bullish on exports, and that will be major contributor, not major contributor, but a decent contributor going forward to the revenue.
Okay, so next year we can expect the same 2 to 2.5% of the revenue exports.
So we'll slowly expanding it. We can't say the absolute number because even in the other segment, even as a main company, we are growing at 10 to 12%. So that we should go at 20-25% there. But we have plans to grow. The base is very small, but we have plans to grow, and definitely that's a good area where we are focusing on.
Okay, sir. My next question is on selection price side. I have seen it has just posted a flattish growth this year. So is this due to the lower realizations, or were there any other headwinds during the year?
This year was a tough year in terms of the realizations in some crops. Basically, the major crops that we deal with, maize or rice, it was a tough year. So even though there was a slight increase in the volume, the realizations were at the lower side. But this year, I think the realizations will be higher side compared to the previous year. But even though if you see as a whole as a company, the EBITDA margins have increased because we have this year it was good for bajra and sunflower. Even though sunflower contributes lower, but the margins were really good in sunflower. So the advantage of our company is that we have a huge product portfolio. When we have tough conditions in one crop we can earn. So in that way we are able to maintain and increase our realization. And this is the nature of the business. 1 year it will be tough, 1 year it will be okay. So in that way, nothing much to bother about it.
Okay, sir. My final question is on contribution of cotton and non-cotton crops. In the last 5-6 years, the revenue of non-cotton crops as total revenue has improved dramatically. It was 42% in FY19 and right now in this year it is 62%. Are we still trying to expand this portion, or are we trying to find a balance at this moment?
If you recollect, we were saying that in the from 14-15, which was the peak year for us in terms of the revenues, the cotton contributed to more than 75% of our revenue. From that day, we were saying that the dependence of the cotton will go down and non-cotton crops will increase. And going forward, non-cotton will contribute more to our growth. That's what is what we see now. Even now, from going forward, both cotton and non-cotton has equal potential to grow in the company. So I think that the 30-70 combination will be there for a couple of years going forward.
Okay, sir. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tarang from Old Bridge Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Couple of questions on my side. One, in your opening address, you mentioned that the rice market should probably grow by about 2 to 3%, but you believe you can significantly outgrow the market. Just wanted to get a sense, what's driving this confidence given the difficult year we've had and realizations have also taken a significant hit?
If you see the current year also, the markets were flat or it went down by 1 to 2% compared to the previous year. Even in the tough conditions, we were able to grow in both in terms of the revenue and in terms of the volume, both in hybrid rice and selection rice. This year, we see a slight increase in the market, but our hybrids are doing well. The new varieties which I have introduced, both in selection rice and in hybrid rice, are doing well. And we are confident that we can definitely grow in these two segments this year as well. As I said in the earlier remarks itself, last year was a bit tougher in terms of the realization, but we don't see that sort of a difficulty this year as of now.
Okay, so is this confidence incumbent on your placements currently?
Yes, the placements are in line with our anticipation. We are in line with that.
Okay. The second question is on cotton acreages, right? Overall, the outlook for cotton is rather somber. So, just wanted to get your sense, what's your view on acreages? It's a big crop contributing in Q1 for you. So, how are placements there, especially considering globally the prices have come off significantly at the same time last year?
What we see, the cotton area acreages should remain flat or I don't see much of an increase in the acreages this year compared to the previous year because the other crops are doing well. So as a company, we are only anticipating 5 to 10% growth in cotton with this base. But even the other crops, like in Maharashtra, soya is also the prices are not that great. That's the only point where we need to look at it. The timely rainfall, then that will move for the groundnut. Otherwise, if the rainfall is great, then that might move to the cotton. Otherwise, in a normal year, the acreage should remain flat for cotton.
Okay. The third question is, what was the customer advances figure as on 31st March 23?
It's like 160 or 170. I will reconfirm about the figure. But right now we are discouraging in terms of the last 3-4 years. We are discouraging for the advances. As we are realizing low, we are not taking advances from the market.
Okay.
We are not that aggressively pushing it.
Okay. The third question is on your bajra and sunflower business. How big are each of these products, and what was this number for FY22?
Sunflower, we have done close to 30 odd crores this year, 28-30 crores. Against 12-13 crores last year. And the realizations were very good in sunflower. Bajra also, we were like 13 crores, we had 20 crores this year. So overall, we see Bajra will grow going forward. Bajra has a potential to reach 100 crores in the future. Whereas sunflower should remain same or it will be sideways from this year what we have told. We don't see any much growth in sunflower this year.
Got it. And the last is the 133 crores of CWIP on the balance sheet. I mean, is this the R&D building or there's something more to it, and how should we see it getting commissioned? The 133 crore of CWIP on balance sheet. Capital work in progress, 133 crores.
Mm-hmm. There are a couple of things which are there in that. One is the office building, new office. That is one part. That's one property which is there. One plant which is also there. We have other processing line and cold storage warehouses. That's one part. And the other one is the R&D building. It's a combination of all.
Okay, and all of this should be capitalized in FY24, correct?
Yes. Some are all like plant will be operational, office should be operational, but R&D may take some more time.
Okay. Just last question. How do you see the placements this year versus the year before?
The placements are good. Compared to previous year, we are in line with the placements, with their estimates, and we don't see any difficulty as of now in terms of the placements. But nothing has gone into ground as of now. But majority placements are there, but it all depends on the rainfall. That's a regular activity for us. And we can get a clear picture from the monsoon starts.
Got it. And given the soft outlook on cotton, would it be fair to presume that it's a little more skewed towards non-cotton? Or it's
definitely going forward also the non-cotton portfolio is a very big portfolio, and we have many crops in that. And every crop has got a huge scope to grow. But what I said in the initial say is that cotton should be like 30-70 going forward, because we see that we cannot go below this cotton packets, and we have very good pipeline hybrids which are coming. So we have a potential to grow to that 80 lakhs to 1 lakh, 1 crore in the next 3, 4, 5 years, whenever it is. So that's the reason we said that even cotton as a crop will grow going forward.
Because that would entail almost doubling your volumes from the current levels.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sanjeev Zarbade from Dreamladder Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Thanks for taking the question.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, but the line for you is very unclear. I request you to please use the handset. Yes.
My first question is regarding the other current liabilities, which have actually gone up from 296 crore to 366 crore. So what is that on account of?
One is like the payables to the production farmers. That is a major chunk in that.
Okay. And also during this year, our biological assets have gone up by almost 40%. So how should we, look at it, and what kind of benefit we can expect to accrue in the coming years from this?
Nothing is whatever we are talking about the biological assets is basically the inventories. As we are anticipating more sale, the inventories are also up. That's the only part.
Okay. And sir, regarding our revenue, in the sense that if we see our revenue has been more or less stuck in the same range for the last 4 to 5 years. So, what kind of medium-term target or vision we have for the business, so that, as an investor, we can take a more favorable look at the growth profile of the company?
I don't think it has been stagnant for last 4 or 5 years. In fact, if you see this year, the revenues are up by 20% and the profitability is up by more than 25% compared to the previous.
Correct. So,
I agree that if you take the last 7-8 years, it remained flattish. But if you see in the other way, the cotton prices were down, cotton volumes are down, cotton acreages are down, and which was contributing 75-80% of our total revenue. That is almost like 30-35% now. So the other way to see is that we have grown in non-cotton crops to compensate the degrowth of cotton. But from this point where we see both the crops going forward, we see a revenue growth. Then from here, definitely we see a revenue growth from here. Even in fact, we said that 10 to 12% in the top line and 15 to 20% in the bottom line growth. That should be growth what we are anticipating, and that should continue. And we are very bullish on the long-term growth as well for the next long-term, in the midterm for next 3 to 5 years. We see this type of growth.
Okay, and sir, lastly, what utilization plans we have for the cash and investment that we have? Because we've completed one buyback. Now, just wanted to understand our dividend policy in the coming years.
So we are a company dividend paying company for last 50 years since the time of listing, and we have done 5 buybacks in the last 5 years. If you see the cash in the books in the last from 2014 to 15, it is between 300 to 400 crores or 500 crores of cash, and whatever we have generated, we have distributed back to the shareholders. Whatever free cash we have generated. So that should be our policy going forward. At the same time, if we see any opportunity in terms of the technology or in terms of any company acquisition, in terms of the R&D related or in terms of any strategic investment for the company, we are open for that. If we don't see any opportunity, we don't want to hold back the cash, we want to do our into shareholders.
All right, sir. Thank you for taking my questions.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nitin Awasthi from InCred Equity. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the follow-up. So wanted to understand the menace of illegal cotton seeds this time around. Is it still around? Is it still as big as it was last year and the year before that, or is it being tamed?
Illegal seed is even there now, but the awareness among the farmers and from the government, they are very strict in terms of the spurious seeds. So in terms of the percentages, I don't see it will go up. In fact, it should come down as a percentage compared to the previous years.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask a question, you may please press star and 1. Participants, to ask a question, you may please press star 1. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask a question, you may press star and 1 on your touchtone phones. As we have no further questions, we thank you all for joining this call. For any further queries, please contact Mr. Rama Naidu from Intellect IR. He can be reached on 99202 09623. On behalf of Kaveri Seed Company Limited, that concludes this conference call. Thank you. You may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you.